Picture this. You were television producer and director Ali Salim, and you were tasked with creating an intro credit sequence for your upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe television series. This high-budget, gritty, political espionage drama revolves around aliens that shapeshift into humans, including government spies with huge plot twists. Themes of rampant misinformation, political unrest, mass media abuse, and immigration are all used to tell your grounded sci-fi thriller. After directing and producing most of the episodes, it's time to begin production on the intro credit sequence of the series, giving it the polish and thematic cohesion that it deserves. While in the beginning stage of development, you turn on the TV, seeing news about this new generative AI technology that allows for the production and imagery of animation with just simple text prompts. The motion produced by this program is known for creating surreal, chaotic works, full of twisting and churning and seemingly random pieces and tropes. A light bulb go off in your head. What if we use this new groundbreaking technology to construct the opening sequence for your espionage thriller show? You think, surely a new technology being criticized for its laziness and lack of cohesion will be perfect for a multi-million blockbuster to our audience of super fans and movie watchers, right? You rush over to Method Studios, the widely known production VFX house for tons of your favorite blockbusters, with the idea, and they agree with. Surprisingly, this seemed to lower the cost of your intro by quite a lot. And to be honest, you didn't really know how this AI stuff worked, but you handed it over to Method Studios and continued to direct and produce the rest of your TV show. Months go by, and it's time to finally unveil your show to the public, giving them a glimpse of your hard work and effort of months of production, writing, and editing, along with the
6.5 out of 10
middling critic scores. You notice that your show's trending on Twitter, but for a reason that different from what you had expected. People are annoyed and disappointed with the credit sequence. Quickly, you scrambled the news outlets and went to Twitter, rushing to assure them that no jobs were lost, and that there were producers, designers, and compositors that were still working in order to ensure that this credit sequence matched the show thematically and cohesively. So, there was an intentional reason behind the intro being generated by AI. It wasn't entirely misguided, and it had a reason and a stylistic flair to it that wasn't completely devoid of style and or substance. But that's where any semblance of a good idea ends and the bad parts start to begin. Because once you get past the interesting, albeit poorly executed idea of the meta-analysis and commentary on our modern political and media landscape, you start to actually look at the intro itself, and you just get a taste of how horrible it looks. It doesn't take a designer to see all the problems that are going on between every single cut. Every single cut of footage can only last more than 15 seconds, because that's when the AI starts to cannibalize itself and it starts to look like an entirely different scene. Things are moving that shouldn't be. The background can be all sick and twisted and warping around a character that's entirely still, when the character is the subject of the frame. There's so many instances of it in almost every single scene. Literally everything on the screen is moving. There's no visual clarity, and there's only minor senses of composition that are all vary from barely visual distinctive or just kind of plain and uninteresting. It doesn't, at all carry the themes and the uniqueness that the show has. Even though it has a cool art style and a unique vibe to it, something that's unlike anything else we've seen because it's artificially generated, it vastly gets overshadowed by any sense of visual clarity that's just been lost upon the viewer. See, and what burns the most about this intro is that they could have hired real artists with actual skills to make the production, to produce the show. I've seen 2 videos just from a couple seconds of scrolling, just looking up recreations that recreated the entire intro using Blender, Photoshop, Illustrator, using their own, and this is a one-man team. This is a $213 million blockbuster Marvel Cinematic Universe Disney TV show with ample time, ample production budget, and a large team and planners that could have all made this possible, that could have looked fantastic. They could have hired real people to recreate the artificial and otherworldly feeling of artificial intelligence production, still get the same point across, but they could have done it in a way that's intentional,
that doesn't insult the viewer's time, that doesn't insult its audience or the people that were working on the show. It comes across as lazy, it comes across as uninterested, and it overall lacks creative and visual direction. There's no sense here, and it really shows how valuable artists are and designers are when coming up with production, composition, color choices, and everything else that you don't even realize, and the modern audience doesn't realize, goes into something as simple as just the opening credits to a scene. And I'm not the only one saying this. Many artists and people who even worked on the show itself expressed their concern in Twitter and in interviews over something like this happening, over artificial intelligence being used in a big budget, high-level production that even they worked on. Seeing this, Serene put out in a couple interviews that he assured people that there were no jobs lost in the production of this, and that AI was just one of the many tools that they used in order to create this, and said that multiple artists and multiple compositors and editors all work together using AI tools, using revisionism, in order to make something like this come to life, in order to produce this. I wanted to believe that too. So I looked and I did some digging, and I looked in the credits of the TV show at the end, and lo and behold, Method Studios, it requires to be credited and everything. You can see one artist in the credits at the end of the video, one artist and one AI artist. Oh, really? So then I did some digging. I looked at the low-key intro credit sequence credits to see at the end how many people worked on the show. 9 artists were enlisted in the low-key credit sequence just by themselves. 9 times as many people were hired to work on just one show. So I looked at the Winter Soldier. 8 artists. Moon Knight, 6 artists. 6, 8, 9 times as many people were enlisted to work on a show that was non-AI generated as opposed to SecretInvasion, who took 1 real artists anyways. And that's not including any extra producers or directors that were required to get these people to get the work that they wanted. So yeah, jobs were taken, and this was taken at the time, where SAG-AFTRA was going on a strike asking for better people, asking for better wages. And VFX workers were trying to unionize against the increasingly harsh conditions of workers in the industry. And then, after they put out the intro, we get what's left. After Marvel and Disney publish the intro, and you get just the public's reaction and the cultural impact that it has on the entire greater cultural media landscape, what are we left with? We're left with an AI-generated intro that sets a precedent for the rest of the industry. No matter how pure the intentions for something like this was, even if the Marvel Studios and the director really did believe that this was something that would match the cohesion of the story and would add to everything, and add to the production, we're still left with the normalization of AI tools in filmmaking and the taking of people's jobs. So at the end of the day, what are we working with? We're looking at an AI-generated TV intro that was made with artificial intelligence tools with the alluring idea of thematically linking it into a story. But all we're left with is a visual mess, something that's vaguely inspired of real art that real humans were made to create, has no sense of visual clarity, cohesion, false sense of movement, poor principles of composition, and an inherent lack of intentionality and real design put forth, that were left behind up to a minimum of 6 artists out of work that could have been used in order to put forth an actual artistically created design with intention.